Good morning, class. It's me, your teacher in all things League of Legends, Mr. Choi. For you today, we're going to be grading the students in the highly touted LCS program. This year was full of disappointments, so many failing teams, but nonetheless, we must do our job and hand out the grades. The grading system we'll be using is the tried and true letter grades. Now, let's go over what each grade means. A, it means you exceeded all expectations. Great job. You got the most that you potentially could out of the roster that you had. Bravo. B, if your team is primarily Asian, this is a failing grade. It means you did good, but not great. You did better than what people thought you'd be doing, but it wasn't amazing. Now, we have the average grade. C, we got exactly what we expected. The roster you had with the average staff should have been placing here with an average split. Now, we move on to D and F. These are failing grades. For D, it means you fell below expectations. What are you doing? There were problems on the team. The roster you had should not be doing this badly. And finally, F. It means holy fuck, what the fuck happened here? Everything fucking blew up like fuckity fuck, you guys fucked up. Now that we're all on the same page, let's get started with our first team, C9. Start of the season for C9 was filled with usual fan outcry. I mean, they replaced Sneaky, and he's been a fan favorite of that team forever. We lost the offseason, hashtag not my C9. Oh my god, Jack doesn't care about us anymore. Bot lane in particular, there was a lot of risky pickups. Vulcan's buyout was 1.5 million, a staggering amount for a relatively unproven player. And Sven came off the worst 2 years of his career on TSM. But to everyone's surprise, C9 killed it. Sven proved that he was still a top tier player and that TSM actually stands for Talent Suppression Machine. And Niski took inspiration from Doinby. I mean, they were both at World together. Doinby did amazingly well. He took a lot of the shot calling, a lot of the roam heavy playstyle that Doinby was doing and incorporated it into his gameplay. He put together an MVP level performance, and a lot of people like to say Blaver is the one carrying C9, but for me, it's Niski enabling Blaver to do the things that he does. Overall, outside of that one loss to TSM, C9 put together a flawless split, and if that's not exceeding expectations, I don't know what is. You guys get a well-deserved A+. Now, let's move on to EG. From the very get-go, EG put a target on themselves. Their CEO, Nicole, came out with a video targeting TSM, targeting TL.
Before spearheading the oldest brand in esports, my background was in turning around distressed businesses. This makes myself and EG the natural choice to putting out the raging dumpster fire that is North American League of Legends.
It was an incredibly cocky way to enter the LCS, and despite the big names they managed to pick up, the players weren't in the best forms outside of Svenskeren. Kumo was an academy top laner with a short stint in LCS. Jizuke had an uncharacteristically bad 2019, and also he was a second option for Chobi, who EG was originally trying to get. And Bang honestly never really showed up on 100 Thieves outside of the few games in summer. Zeyzal, along with Sneaky, took most of the blame for C9's failures in 2019. So yeah, a lot of great names, but not the best form coming in. And predictably, the start of the split was pretty rough for EG, but they were able to find and commit to an identity somewhere down the line. It revolved around 1-3-1, but also making the players that they have very comfortable and getting the most out of them. Sven would pick aggressive AD junglers early in the draft like Lee Sin, Pantheon, which would set Jizuke up to counterpick with his AP solo lanes like LeBlanc, Ryze, and Echo. And Bang didn't have to play that primary carry role, and he could play more of the utility AD carries he was comfortable on, like Senna. So once all those pieces clicked together, EG improved all the way from middle of the pack to clearly the second best team in LCS, and for that, I'm gonna have to give them an A-. Now, let's move on to 100 Thieves. They also started the season on the struggle bus, and the Realma pickup received a lot of fire. There's talks of nepotism, he only got picked up because he's from Oath, and Papa Smithy is from Oath, so it's just that connection. He wasn't the best player for the job. The only player that really looked good on the team initially was Someday. The second half of the split was a turning point for them though. Realma improved to a point where he could hold his own versus the top tier mid laners in LCS. It's not like he turned into a carry player, he just stopped getting blown out. And this allowed 100 Thieves to double down on their strengths, teamfighting and scaling. Cody's still one of the best teamfighting AD carries in the LCS, and the veteran shot calling also shined through once 100 Thieves just started playing for the late game. Papa, This definitely isn't the best roster in LCS on paper, but you still managed to get third and got most out of the players you had, and for that, you deserve a B+. Now, let's move on to FlyQuest. FlyQuest this year has been a pleasant surprise. They shed the whole Snickers branding and came up with a new Tree Quest identity.
We're doing Ikebana for the tailgate, and we're gonna make them with the thought of serving our fans, appreciating nature, practicing daily gratitude, and we're creating a workshop, the Ikebana workshop, where you guys can hand make your own Ikebana arrangement, and it shows how we're going green, that we care about the planet, and that we're going to facilitate ways for all of you guys to be included.
Also, the competitive side of things got real good. FlyQuest isn't a top tier destination, and it's not like a lot of players want to play for them, so they had to get creative in the offseason and go for mid-tier imports and mid-tier players. Parabibul and Ignar are good players, but they do need catering too. And FlyQuest did exactly that. They gave Parabibul his favorite control mages and Ignar the engage support he's always been great on. And committing to that identity early in the season gave them a really good head start. Also, I think the solo pickup in the later half of the season was really clutch. Their early game got stale and predictable. It always revolved around Parabibul and people roaming to mid lane, either the jungle or the support, and the other teams started to catch on. And Viper isn't the best top laner in the league. In fact, he's actually one of the worst, so they could never play through top lane. But by picking up solo, they finally get a second lane they can play through, and it stops their early game from being one-dimensional and incredibly predictable. Fourth isn't an amazing finish, but considering what the expectations were, I think FlyQuest gets a well-deserved B. Now, let's talk about our favorite overachiever of the split, Golden Guardians. There was very low expectations for the team. Actually, there was almost near zero expectation for the team. Almost every analyst and fans had this roster finishing 10th. Key support swap was a disaster from the moment it was announced, and Closer was a nobody from Turkey before the split started. Golden Glue has been in and out of LCS so many times, I can't even count at this point, and despite all that, the roster showed signs of life from the get-go. Closer was a standout player, and his pathing every game was top-notch. He did have problems later down the season in terms of gauging the distance between him and the rest of the team, but that's for another day. Golden Glue held his own, and he also showed that he was well deserving of an LCS starter spot. There were definitely imports that were worse than him. Ryoma, Aika, Crown, and finally, Golden Guardians fixed their support problems by bringing in Huhi, a much more cerebral player, something that you need in the support role. In the final weeks, their playoff chances were pretty low, and they needed to win 3 games in a row to clutch it. And they actually managed, and they clutched all 3 games, and they earned themselves a final playoff spot.
Golden Guardians, can they finish? The 6th team in playoffs. Who will it be? He takes some damage. There's the dive for Acadian. Chomp back up, staying alive. Health bars are up. Big dunk in the backline. FBI is on a killing spree. Johnson, he's going to drop as well. A double kill for the Varus as Froggen is slowed. He tries to find the damage. He tries to not be stunned. Burns a stopwatch to get that 2 extra seconds, but Haunter's there in melee range. Closer takes the turret. He's going to be fine. A triple kill for the Varus. They had to win 2 in a row to make it happen, and they have done so. Golden Guardians will be your 6th and final team in the 2020 LCS Spring Playoffs, taking down Dignitas and looking to take names in playoffs.
For a team with no expectation, they showed a lot of effort, and I'm happy to give them a B-. Now, let's talk about the final team for the first half of the video, Immortals. Immortals didn't end up making playoffs, but I still want to commend the players and staff for all the things that they did right. If you look at this roster, it has no star players. If I was actually forced to pick a player, it would be Apollo, and I think that says a lot about the team. Not saying Apollo's bad, but he's not amazing mechanical standout player, he's just someone that's very dependable. Despite that though, they managed to stay in the running throughout the entirety of the season through smart drafts and punishing enemy teams' mistake in the later portions of the game. The games they played weren't exciting, but you can't deny that this team made more clutch calls than rest of the mid-tier teams and ended up just right outside of playoffs. I think Immortals deserve a passing grade, so I'm gonna give them a C+. It didn't wow me, but it still was slightly better than the expectation. I hope you guys enjoyed the first half upgrading all LCS teams. I'm looking forward and kind of nervous for the second half. Some of the teams did so badly. Team Liquid, CLG, what the fuck are you guys thinking? Don't forget to check out the second half. It should be coming out very soon. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And one last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just loco. Bye.
Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words.